What's good, everybody, here in Brookago? I am super excited. We have a fantastic guest. You know, we've been putting out some great content around the amazing Annapurna showcase. One of the games that I saw a little bit a while ago and was amazingly excited for. Got a chance to play it in a small tidbit, and now it's coming out very, very soon. I am super excited for the Artful Escape, and we have Space Lord extraordinaire rocking with us, Johnny Galvatron. What's good, fam? How you doing, Johnny?
Man, I'm pretty good. I'm in a shrubbery. Every day that I'm in a shrubbery is a good day. I've only got a couple of days left of working on the game, and then we hand everything in. So I'm in a weird kind of school's almost out state of mind.
Yeah. I mean, shrubbery work is hard work. You got to figure out ways through the brushes, got to figure out how to get to mice and keys, and sometimes you lose it in the grass. I understand.
Sometimes David Bowie's in there freaking about.
That's what I'm saying. He's hanging out in the ferns, making it happen. I am very excited for the game that you're putting out. I am. Once I saw this game, I was like, what in the hell is this? I need this right now. Give the folks at home a little bit of info about what the Artful Escape is.
Well, the Artful Escape is a video game. It's a very music-centric video game, and it follows the adventures of Francis Vendetti, who's kind of like a teenage guitar prodigy, as he creates his stage persona. The game kind of revolves around the satellite aspects of people's creative mediums. So, Francis is like a fantastic guitarist. The game and his adventure isn't really about him becoming a better guitarist. It's about him building the satellite aspects of his stage persona. So the game deals with stuff like image, fashion, rumors, narrative of your backstory, and it's kind of set in this narrative angle of Francis trying to escape the shadow of his famous uncle, who's kind of like a Bob Dylan character. And you go on a crazy space journey. It's kind of like if David Bowie went out into the ethos and came back as Ziggy.
I love it. So how close is this to your own life experience?
Of traveling across space?
Yeah, of course. You're a space lord.
As a space lord. My experience of touring was horrible. Not because touring is horrible. It's just not for me. I don't like 12-seater buses. I don't like airplanes. I don't like being away from my friends and fam. So, I didn't have a great time in the music industry. It was all kind of really quick. Like we played our first show, and I think we had a record deal with Warner Brothers. I think it was a week later. And then we were on tour a week after that, and I didn't come home for years.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I've got lots of good, crazy stories and went on lots of crazy adventures, but it wasn't my scene.
Well, next time we get you on the show, we'll talk about that specifically. I want to dig into that next time we get you on the show proper. But
totally.
The thing that jumps out at you for this is one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Like the art style that the visual language that you have here, the art style that you're pulling together, the way you're playing with foreground, background, the way you're playing with all these kind of beautiful tidbits. Talk a little bit about the way you thought about going into this game from a visual perspective.
From a visual perspective, I didn't know how to make video games. This is my first video game, and I thought that the best way would be to illustrate if I could illustrate as much as I could and just throw it in the 3D scene, then I think I could make something. And then things got out of control, and then 6 years later, here I am talking to you. But I think a lot of it's inspired by like 70s album covers, like Cream album covers, and heaps of it's like like monsters I was designing in my maths book when I should have been doing maths at high school. And there's obviously like a broad spectrum of musical influences from Pink Floyd to kind of Parliament to and obviously a lot of David Bowie and a lot of Grace Jones and stuff like that. So it's like it's a plethora of various kooky stuff that I've picked up across the journey.
The thing that comes across really well is just you mashing up all of these kinds of different styles of not only gameplay and art. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what this experience has been like. This is your first game that you've made. This is a new venture for you in this way. What's give me a little bit of the info about like how has this been since you, because it's not a lot of times when a game is first put out there by a first time developer where everyone is like, yo, what is this? Like, what is there's a buzz around it that I haven't seen around a game like this in a long time. What's that conversation been like for you and the team?
It's weird. I think I'll answer it in two parts, but the different melding of things coming together, I think, is like one of the things I'm most proud of with the game. I think, we looked at everything like, a different weapon in the arsenal of like, you can use narrative to a point, you can use gameplay as a point, because it's a side scroller, you have control of the camera as the director. And then you also have the music and the narrative. And if you can get these things all together and then suddenly punch it with a guitar solo, that's the moment. That's where I feel like we get it right. So, and as for us being really hyped, it doesn't bother me too much. My rock and roll band was really hyped, and they, we got to tour the world and stuff. But we weren't extremely famous. We were no U2. Apple wasn't putting our album on people's phones for free. But I don't know. Have you ever found a forum that's dedicated to hating you?
Yes. It's called podcasting. Absolutely.
It's you never forget it. Hey, you never forget like
your first hate.
Well, for me, anyway. So I'm just kind of trying to mentally prepare myself for like being back out there. So I don't know. I don't take too much into it. I'm trying to I won't watch the. I don't like to watch when the game's shown and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure it's stressful in that way for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of other game developers feel that way as well, and a lot of creatives feel that way as well. I mean, I feel very privileged and honored that people are excited about our game that we've made.
Yeah, for sure. The other part of this that is just phenomenal, that when I got a chance to kind of play the small run through that I did, was the music is so good. Like,
thank you.
The way you've pulled through on that layer of it is just so fantastic. Like, I know there's a lot of guitar in this game, but it feels like the connection between the physical instrument and the way it's coming through in the game is so well done. How important was it to get the music right on a project like this?
Massively important. I worked with Josh Abrahams, who I've worked with my whole musical career. He rocked up at my door one day. He's like a famous electronic producer in Australia. He had this really, really big hit called "Addicted to Bass," and he ended up doing like all the music for Moulin Rouge and stuff. And he just rocked up at my door one day and was like, "I heard you're making this weird Van Halen stuff. Can I hear it?" And I was like, "What are you doing here?" And I've worked with him for years since. So it was really important to we've been working together for years. Do you know what was important? I got to pay him for the first time in many, many years.
Love it.
for his work. So that was important to me. The guitar and getting everything right. I mean, just has been a dream, because like I've been in the studios for so many hours. Like we made like 5 or 6 hours of music. Like what fun, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the game kind of works on the dark side of the rainbow kind of aspect. Kind of something that's called like synchronicity, which is like, I think there's a more scientific name as well. But do you know Dark Side of the Rainbow?
Yeah,
when you put on,
Yep.
Yeah. So if people don't know, you start playing Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon on the third roar of the MGM line, and they match up. And really, it's just your brain looking for pattern recognition, and that's a lot of how the music in the Artful Escape works. If you make everything in the right key and you're kind of very careful about how you're composing and how you're putting the guitar in, you can play it anywhere, and then it feels like everything's running together, but it's actually just your brain making it work. So. If you like the music in the Artful Escape, it's because of you.
I love that. I love that for sure. I think that's going to be a thing that I'm going to kind of pull back into it is, as a person who is like dying and waiting for this to drop. I'm just so excited to see where you take this from a narrative perspective, how you incorporate that music into it, and how you kind of bring this new world to life in a way that is going to be very, very cool across so many different platforms and things like that.
I'm really excited for you to see it. I'm really excited for people to see it. Like, I think it's great. I think someone told me yesterday that it was too dope to compete in the Olympics, and that's what I want to put. That's what I want to put on the box. But that sounds arrogant, but I like, when you make a game like this, it's just like a whole team of people. And every time I go in, I see like different illustrations, different effects that people will put in, cool little programming things where the lights follow you around. Like, I'm amazed every time I play it. So I'm really excited for you to get your hands on it.
Well, like I said, I say this all the time because Annapurna is one of my favorite pubs, is that they just don't miss. They have one of the most smart portfolios in any group of folks in gaming, and having you as the Space Lord leading the charge at Artful Escape and having your game in that fold just tells me that continues along that line. So
that's a lot of pressure, man.
No,
you're
brother,
throwing a lot of pressure on me.
Fam, you are already in the shrubbery. You're already in it. So it doesn't matter. You already won the game. You're already in the shrubbery.
Yeah.
You become a Space Lord. You made a dope game and it looks gorgeous. And you're rocking with some of the best in the industry. So you won. I think you got a good spot.
Annapurna is like you feel like you're sitting with the cool kids up the back of the bus. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, we have a little bit of time left with you. The thing that everybody wants to know is, when is this bad boy going to drop? When are we going to be able to get a chance to play it?
It's September 9th. I can't believe it.
Yes.
On Xbox and PC. And yes, I cannot believe that we've come to the end. It's been so long. I was only 12 when I started this game. Look at me now.
Man, making games makes you get older so much faster.
I've got a grey nose hair, damn it. I noticed it the other day, and it's definitely game related.
Hey, well, here's the one thing that's good about that is the older that you get, I'll be 43 in a couple of weeks. The best thing about that is when you start to try to figure out, should I dye this hair or should I not dye this hair? That's when it gets good. This is not going to happen. There's no dyeing this, but everything else, that's when you start to think about it. Johnny, thank you so much for being here. You rock. I definitely want to get you back on the show once the game launches, and would love to talk to you more about your game dev experience and your journey. And I want to hear more about the stuff on the road. Those stories are going to be fun to talk about once we get a chance to hang out.
I will come back. I'll come back for sure, and I will tell you some rock and roll stories.
Love it. Everybody at home, Johnny Galvatron, super dope. More words on the Artful Escape very, very soon. I am super excited for it. It's one of my most anticipated games, so I'm super hyped for it. We have more stuff coming to you a little bit later. We'll see you all in a little bit. Much love and peace.